Hey, welcome back everyone. Another episode here. This one's going to be a bit of an update sort of episode. So we've been looking at a few things after we've had a fairly sort of busy couple of weeks building this thing. We've got a couple of gauges here which Jasper's been working on. So we just rocked up at Mungie Mods. Let's go see how he's doing on the engine bay. What do you got here?
Just a bit of weight reduction really. Just got these Bonnet struts installed. So these are the ones for a BT50, so it's not designed for this car, but as you can see, fit up beautifully and work better than they look.
Nice. So being the D-Max, we had to redevelop this at the start for the BT50 because the bonnets are a bit different. We found that the struts didn't work from BT50 to D-Max and vice versa.
Yeah, so for D-Max we mount it down here, but the problem is on the BTs, they got a giant rubber support for the bonnet and it hits the bracket, hits on the strut, so we've had to move the strut back.
We had a few people that started asking about the D-Max, why can't we fit these, and it didn't work, we thought. So this will be the first time trying it. Yeah, so made a fit, it looks nice and neat.
Yep.
So that's good because we're about to do some engine work on this one. So we are preparing for our first trip. So there's a few things, we're finding a few earthing issues. I see we got the terminal nice and clean here, the battery.
Boiling water trick, first time seen that done.
So we had a fair bit of frothing up, we know that's an earthing issue. But I got to teach the young fella here a bit of a trick with the boiling water on the terminal. It just dissipates, doesn't it?
Cleans it right up.
So we'll look further into the issue of the earthing issue with that, but we are preparing for engine work. So we've got Manny from Adaptor Automotive. He's helping us out a fair bit. I actually just came back from there this morning, which is pretty cool. We've got some stuff to show you. We'll do that a little bit later. But yeah, gas bonnet gives a little bit more room because the strut coming up here
gets a bit annoying.
Yeah, we say weight reduction is a bit of a joke, but these are actually a little bit heavier, but it definitely makes it easier to work on. So we've got a clear path at the front here. So talking to Manny, he said he wanted to help us out with a two-stage build. So at the start, we want to see how far we can push a standard intercooler. A lot of people talk about intercoolers, having to upgrade that because they actually don't work or whatever. We're going to try and prove this. So we're going to go for that, say mid 200 horsepower range with the stock intercooler because they are pretty well set up in this. We know Isuzu do use very good metals. They did upgrade this intercooler from the previous model, being alloy tank. Doesn't seem like much, but that alloy tank on that side does definitely take the hot side a lot better. Makes it stronger as it comes through to a plastic tank again. But we don't hear about them breaking open. I think it was more
just the earliest ones, but
that model. But so we're going to be doing a bigger turbo, bigger injectors. I'm not going to give you that information yet, but basics, that's what it's going to be. Hard pipes, of course, to hold that PSI. One of those things, I suppose, we can look at is our boost gauge. So we've gone for autometer. Cobalt seems to be a pretty good one. I've got the autometer Pro Comp in my earlier one, but the lights, I didn't really like the iridescent lights. So these are LED. So I've got this. So going up to 60. Most people don't realise the diesel one starts at 0, then goes up. The one that's vacuum, they don't run vacuum. So yeah, just went straight to 60. So we'll see how we go with that. But to fit that up, we do have to actually make a little reference additive. So we've got a little kit here. Teach Jasper, you're fitting that up now, will you?
Yeah, I can fit that up.
So we can slip that in. Jasper can keep working while we're talking. So we've got turbo injectors. We are looking at a 55mm turbo. Manny's doing a bit of work on experimenting with different sizes there, but we are talking about a ball bearing turbo as well. He does like his flex turbos. These flex turbos, he said they're very reliable and we can tune them to a bit of noise if we want extra noise. So this one, we are going to go a bit silly, so it's going to be welded up gate, external gate. This engine cover won't be lasting too long, I don't think, or this corner of it maybe, because the turbo is going to be up nice and high. We've actually got the manifold, we'll show you that soon. So at high mount 55, gate's going to be probably at the back here, and we're going to go bonnet exit. So exhaust is going to be coming out the bonnet. Not in my face, of course, I want to see where I'm going because it's going to be a bit sooty this one, but screamer and exhaust pipe's going to be at the bonnet because we don't have to look at legality of this thing. This is off-road. Obviously being a hunt rig, it's not going to be good to have the old spoolie boys hanging out the top and noisy waking up the neighbourhood. So we are going to do like a Varic valve. So inside I can actually flick the switch, so we'll dump it down and through a sort of a standard sort of exhaust, which is, we're not going to show too much of that because it's not going to look any good, but it's going to make it so it's quite and sedate, so we actually can make use of this. Other than that, we are pretty much leaving out that with this build because we want to keep it around about that mid 200 horsepower range. Other thing we've got to look at is we know there's some issues with this car underneath. It's leaking oil. Pretty sure it's a rear main seal. It's coming out the back of the motor, and the clutch is slipping already on this on standard power. It's only got 65,000 Ks on it, but I dare say it's been slipping for a while because the oil looks pretty old, but fresh as well. So the more we run it, the more oil is coming out. So I've been to Isuzu. We've picked up a new oil seal. So rear main, these sort of things, genuine only. I don't like to touch anything else. So rear main seal is going in. That is a very specific fitment. You've got a tool for this that must be done with a proper tool. What we've got here is another gauge. So probably the two most important gauges I feel for a turbo diesel. If you're pushing power, you've got boost. You want to see what your boost is because your standard ECU will not read above 23 or 25 pound boost, whatever it is. And I think it's ratio differently, so it won't be correct. So you want to see what the boost is anyway. Then you've got pyro gauge, so EGTs. This one, I believe, does have it because of the DPF, but that DPF ain't going to last long. It's going, so won't have that. So we're going to go these two gauges. This is the manifold we're talking about. Only Manny likes to use the BRD brand, so it's a steam pipe, mild steel. I don't like stainless. Stainless is known to be a bit more brittle, but we just keep it nice and simple, so that'll be nice for the high mount. This is our clutch. I've used other brands before, but it's now come down to BRC is the pick of the bunch. So we've gone from, as we know, this is the dual mass system. On the car standard, we are swapping over to a single mass conversion. Organic clutch, I'll give you more specs on that later on. We are doing a bit of testing on that. So this is rated for about 400 horsepower. Obviously, it's going to be a bit different with the size of tyres and all that sort of stuff. So let's see how we go with that. A couple of little goodies here from Rick Palmer from R&R Products. So most of us will know these are the sleeves to help strengthen our rack ends. A lot of people bend rack ends. So these are going to help us out a fair bit with that because it's pushing a fair bit those wheels. So there's a fair bit of force there. Another thing from Rick, did get a visit from him last week, which is great to see him again, good mate of mine. The old headlights, got the headlight upgrade. So they are the standard replacements. Obviously, we've got a little bit of play with RGB lights. Let's see what we can do. You can have it playing. My daughter, she loves the pink, so got to do that one for the daughter. But yeah, my main colour is blue. But you know, we can change the darkness and all that. So we do actually have the etching of the Isuzu in there, a bit of a honeycomb, give it a bit of a look. But we've gone for that deep, dark black background. So we turn it down. So wanted to sort of suit a sort of a I don't know, evil sort of look, I suppose, of the car. You know, it's a beastie car. Well, that's what we're hoping for. Tell us what you think anyway. But they are a nice replacement for the headlights. We also got the grille off Rick. So that's the replacement of that. So it's a nice breathing grille, not too tight a mesh. Open up a bit more. We've got a bit of stuff that's going to be going in behind that soon. All right, we've got a couple more things we've got to do. I'm going to leave this all to Jasper. I've got to head off. It's school time, so I've got to go pick up my son Chase. I'll be back, but I'll leave you with it.
Sounds good. See you soon.
Cheers. See you later.
So we've still got a few more things we've got to address underneath the car. Last week we looked at fixing up our rear diff issues. So as Jared mentioned, stolen and recovered. There was some pretty gnarly damage underneath. Suspected we bent one of the rear axles. It looks like the passenger rear may have been in a pretty good hit at the back there, and just to be safe, we've got the spare chassis and spare rear diff here. Swapped out that axle on that side, swapped out the diff center as well, because one of the switches on the locker had broken, so common issue. Isuzu actually put a shield on the later model cars, so we didn't have one of those, and unfortunately the locker one of the locker plugs got taken out. So swapped that diff center over, so now we've got a working rear locker, working rear axle and diff. A few more things we've got to address at the front here. The front cross member mount, which is like an extension for the bash plate, was bent pretty badly back into the power steering motor. So we've actually cut this off. We're going to pull it off the chassis that we got there and weld it back on as well. So we've got that working. We can run bash plates to protect everything under here. There's a few more damages underneath. So one of them is this. This is our third engine mount or gearbox mount. It's actually cracked through the where it bolts to the chassis through the bottom here. It gives you a very nice rattle when you start the car and it's idling. Not too sure what's happened there. Maybe just a bad design, or I mean, it's only got 65,000 Ks in a manual, so we're gonna swap this one out for a genuine one and look at maybe reinforcing it, because we have seen it happen to other people on the Facebook groups. So it might need to get looked at, especially if we're pushing power. These experience a lot of abuse, clutch dumps and that, and big wheels. So we got here our box of parts and that from Isuzu. We've actually got a full set of engine mounts, including the front. Now the front, your actual engine mounts, they're all good on this car, but just to be safe, we're going to change them out. 65,000 Ks is not that old. However, We know that with experience, when you're pushing power, it's always best just to start with a fresh set of mounts. They do experience a lot more abuse with the torque in the diesel. So we're going to put a fresh set of genuine Isuzus. Only ever genuine parts when it comes to this sort of thing, like your seals for your main, for instance, your mounts. It's best to run genuine. Your aftermarket stuff, they're running a different compound rubber. They just don't last as long, especially when you've got more power. They'll split in 20, 30,000 k's time. So it always pays to go with genuine for those sorts of things. And yeah, we'll have a fresh set of mounts in this thing, fresh rear main seal, and see how long it'll hold with 300 horsepower. The next thing we're going to have a look at is, you can see the angle of the CVs. They're pretty gnarly. We've got around about a 3.5 inch lift in the front of this thing, so it's lifted pretty high, and we don't actually have a diff drop in there yet. So I'm sure many of you know our ever popular diff drop relocation that we got for this model. We're going to be fitting up one of these just to help them with that CV angle, especially with this lift. The boots aren't going to be loving life. They're always going to be touching each other on that rotation. So dropping that diff just gets a bit more life in them. And obviously the main thing is to make sure we're not locking out the CVs. So as you probably saw in the last episode, we're just finishing up with those inner guards. So if you actually come have a look, something I was working on last week, we got the front and rear inner guards all fitted up. Gives you a bit of protection against mud and water ingress. The other thing we got is the map boost reference adapter. So if it's in just underneath the map sensor, there is actually, you can almost say, a factory provision. Underneath the map sensor, there's a tapped and a threaded hole for getting a boost reference. You just use a little grub screw here to seal it off. Now, the reason we developed this part, even though there is a factory provision, is because there was reports of people stripping this out. And I mean, this goes into your intake manifold, so the last thing you want to be doing is trying to fix that thread. So this is a nice, easy little part, slips on top, gives you a boost reference out the back, just for safety, and makes it easy for those people who don't want to go ahead and strip this out and make a mess of their nice new car.
All right, seems to got back here. One of the cool things about the 23 D-Max, because we got the tub from the 23 D-Max, because that was the only one we could find, but it was white. But standard, they come with slow down. How good's that?
Brilliant.
Standard.
Thanks,
and
mate.
Easy lift, so that's pretty cool. Little cup holders, so can't go wrong there. But how'd you go while I was away?
Yeah, good. We just ran through everything we've done last week and fixed up.
Yep.
So she's almost ready for her first trip.
All right, sweet. We've just got to get things done.
That's it.
Get the turbo on, manifold on. The turbo should be rocking up next week, I believe. So that'll be the gate as well, and then we've got to weld that gate on to the manifold. Yep. Cut a hole in the bonnet with 2 holes. So that should be good fun. Then we're going to get it for tune and yeah, go for its first trip. Test out the old suspension in it. Yep. What was it?
It's currently running a Petters setup.
Petters, that's right. So we don't know how old it is, so nothing against Petters or anything, but we're just going to give it a whirl. And we did the old cheap spacer lift at the front, so we know that's not going to be a good thing, but we just had to get sitting level, didn't we? Because the back was up fairly high. We're going to
pretty heavy leaf back in it, I think, at the moment.
Yeah, so I think we might drop a leaf out of that to accommodate the lack of weight in the back here.
Maybe go parabolics in the future.
Yeah, could do that. We can just go Cataline, what do you reckon? No, we want to have this thing handled properly, so none of this Cataline on that thing. But yeah, so I suppose that's a good run then, good walk around. Sort of found a few issues with the car from being what it was. We weren't sure what to see and fixed up quite a few things. I dare say we're going to find a few more things on the first trip, but they were going to be exciting, maybe devastating as well.
Hopefully not.
Don't know at all, so it's one of those things, test it out. But yeah, we'll definitely get that all documented. But we've got a lot more coming. So this was just basically just a walk around with updates of what we've built at the moment, what we've done, just to make it so it's sort of movable, make it safe. Obviously we can't drive on the road anyway, but we can drive around the paddock and do a little bit of basic testing there. But yeah, there's a few hectic weeks, I think, fitting all these last components that we want for the first trip. Yep. And by that stage, I suppose you'll be back from your holidays. Yeah. Jasper's got a couple of weeks off, so lucky him. I'll just stay here and slug it out. But yeah, look, we'll have a quick drink before you head off, and that's been a good day. So,
cheers.
Cool. Cheers, man.